Like to call the Capital Equipment and Projects Committee meeting. Look for adopting an agenda.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is adopted. Judy, approve the capital equipment and project purchases. Is that you?
It is. Thank
Okay.
you.
You'll be hoarse before the night's over.
I know, right? Okay, so just to give you a little bit of background, and I think I talked about this a little bit at the end of my my information from my memo, that all the department heads got together and we talked about our capital projects. So tonight, what I would like to present to you, if you're okay with this, first of all, talk about the revenue that flowed into the capital projects, and it was 350, not 380. I think I said 380. About the revenue that flowed into the capital projects. And then on our list here, all of the ones that are not highlighted are the ones that were approved at the last capital projects meeting, so we won't be discussing those. But all of the ones that are highlighted in yellow, the department heads are here tonight that have a request on this list, and we did meet prior to this and talked about, discussed, and went through each of these items. And I think the easiest way for us to make our way through this list is for the department head requesting the highlighted items is to give you a little bit of knowledge about that purchase. You to be able to ask questions about it. And then to you to make a choice whether you'd like to move forward with that piece of or that equipment or that project. So first of all, I would like to talk about, so we had 500,000 within our 2022 budget process for capital equipment and projects. There was some sale of equipment from our Department of Public Works area and Parks area in the amount of 33,515. So I added that in here. And then also the operational budget from 2021 that we just went through and discussed. So that actually put us up to $883,000, and that is the most money that we have seen within this budget for a very long time. Just keep in mind that I don't think a lot of the employees here would like to have as many vacant positions within our city. A lot of people stepping up and doing a lot of work for the last couple of years. And that made the $350,000 possible moving into 2022. But again, I don't anticipate those positions, and we hope those positions get filled so that we can continue to move forward and have a little bit of breathing space within our departments. So we took a look at that and then went through the list one by one, like I said, as a group. And everyone was in agreement with the ones that were highlighted. So we'll take them one by one. We'll talk about them. You guys can ask questions, and then we'll move forward with each one as a vote. Okay, so each one's going to take its own vote. So as soon as you're done discussing, Bob, as soon as they're done discussing, then we will go ahead and take a vote on that line item. So we're going to start out with the pickup truck facilities, 18 years old, Luke or Ginger.
That's on there. That we said facilities truck. Any questions, I guess?
Other than we try to phase them out every 15 years, and obviously this is beyond that, so.
And it's in really rough shape as far as rust.
I'll make a motion to purchase the pickup truck.
Motion's been made and seconded to make the purchase of the $25,500 pickup truck. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Judy? That one's gone.
1-ton dump truck. Again, Luke, Jed.
Luke's probably the best one to talk about that.
Again, age, wear and tear, the normal stuff that comes along with the one-ton dump truck.
Where are these coming from?
This is a Parks Department, yeah.
Oh, Dotson.
Where's the purchase?
This is a Ford.
Yeah, no, this one, currently it's a Ford, the
What are you buying?
quote that we have is from Block Chevrolet.
But this just approves the budget, not necessarily that particular model, blah, blah, blah. It's just, this is the budget number.
And everything,
You will
then you sell everything anyway. We sell our old
Correct.
stuff.
Sell or
Not that we're
trade
gonna
in.
Get much for 18-year-old truck right now, but
either sell it or trade in.
Well, you
depending
never
on who's
know.
better.
second,
Motion's been made and approved for a 1-ton dump truck. Any discussion on it?
So basically they're selling, or they're gonna be getting rid of a 2006 dump truck and they will be purchasing a brand new vehicle from Plock or whatever.
From wherever, not necessarily at pocket, but yes, correct.
Any other questions?
Do we go out and get multiple bids on these trucks? Chad?
Pardon?
Do we all go out and get multiple bids on these trucks?
Luke takes care of that. That's his job.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Hi.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The groomer trailer.
So, that's for our ball diamond groomer. It's a very heavy piece of equipment right now. It's old, ancient, not safe at all. We did find a little bit lower cost than this, so it won't be the entire 7,800.
It does seem kind of high for
Yep,
a trailer.
yep, we were able to find one with that.
Yeah, just keep in mind, as we're purchasing this, these are estimates at this time. So, they actually did get a quote that was less than this, but we left it at 7,800. Just keep in mind that something else might be $1,000 more, and we're not going to put a halt to a $42,000 piece of equipment for $1,000. Kind of gives you a little leeway within the dollars that are already approved for expenditure. So,
Any other questions? I look for a motion.
so
Trailer. Motion's made second.
second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Opposed?
all right, election badger books, Nicole.
I've brought this up at meetings before, but the Badger books are the electronic poll books. Kind of takes away the element of any human error. They're electronic books that would be at each polling place. The distributors can only be approved for by Wisconsin election commissions. And, you know, it helps with the data being real accurate, and the price is only going to go up. So I don't know if you have any questions about them. They're not connected to the internet. It's an independent server at each of the polling places. They can service 1,000 people. So each of our polling places would need one, except for District 5. The Outagamie County District is over 1,000, so they would have to have 2 there.
Take away that big packet that they flip through.
Yep.
Oh, that's for it? Okay.
Yeah. So, and then when they would come with identification, you know, it would immediately spit out the receipt and things like that. It wouldn't be on the poll worker to know, you know, if that is valid ID or things like that. And any change, you know, so if there's any changes to election law, it's immediately made up for in the Badger book in the system.
Move to approve.
Motion's been made. Second.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to purchase the election badger books. All in favor?
I was just wondering if we could have a little discussion on this one.
Sure.
So is this a requirement?
Not yet. Not
So
at this time.
down the future, it might be a requirement.
I don't know.
So
Yeah,
right now, when you do an election, you have the person sign. So you'd be signing like a tablet or
They
something?
sign the tablet, yep. So it's a tablet that the poll worker has, and then they turn it around to the voter.
So I guess, you know, just with everything that's been going on in the last couple of years, I guess I'd feel more comfortable with having a paper ballot or a paper book with people's signatures. And
Do you sign in?
I'm just saying, we're
Not with Badger
taking
books, yeah.
away.
There is a paper receipt issued with it. But yeah, I mean,
Like I said, I just feel more comfortable having a paper copy instead of an electronic because of everything that's been in the news over the last couple of years. If it's not a requirement and it's an additional cost of $23,000.
Do you know how many communities around the area have these or
Clintonville does.
are?
Yeah, I don't know, so I went to an open house, in Outagamie County in Greenville. So Greenville, Clintonville, I believe Wapaka uses them. Some of the smaller ones don't.
What does it cost to print them booklets every year?
To print the poll books.
You have that. I mean, we got 2 of them this year alone. You got one February 15th and then
Yeah,
you got primaries in there.
I mean,
Or even passed, so debates ended.
No, it has not been.
No, that's
May-
been voted on yet.
No, you can still,
No.
it's not been voted on.
no.
It's still open for debate.
I mean, it's the paper cost if it's not,
Is it less work for?
for me.
eventually-
Yeah, it's substantially less work. And it's instantly up to date. So, if I print a poll book, so we print our own poll books in the city of New London. Some municipalities have the county print them out. So if I print them out, they can become, the second somebody maybe becomes an eligible voter, something like that, that it becomes, then you have to have an amendment to those things. And then the data at the end of the night just gets uploaded immediately. So it is less work in the end for me per month. And
Is it
So
going to
all
help?
those- sorry, go ahead.
Is it going to help from election fraud?
yes, I mean, and that to the point of, the concerns about having a paper copy, those, I think they're only stored for 13 months. I can destroy the poll books. So there's a schedule of when you can destroy them. So it's not terribly long, to be honest. But the idea that they're not hooked up to the internet, that they're their own server and we have that information, that it's not floating out there. It is safe, that's like that's a concern for people. But there has been no issues with voter fraud with the Badger books. They've been, a lot of communities have had them for a number of years.
And I think electronically, you have an electronic footprint that is embedded.
Right.
And after elections, you need to take the paper poll books and go through them all and update that to.
Right. And then they go to, we have to print a copy for the school district and, and
How long does it take you to go through those poll books in a general election and update that compared to what you're saying, electronic, done?
at the end of the night, yeah. A few days.
So it takes days for you to do that. Okay.
Just no matter how you feel on one way or the other, a lot of our, half of the society or country feels one way or the other. If they're going to be coming in, what kind of public backlash are we going to have where people are be like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Why is this all electronic? Oh, it's not on the internet. Sure it is. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
especially right now.
I think when I went to the open house, the concern wasn't the voter, the voters didn't have an issue with it with the communities that adopted it. Some of the concern was maybe the poll workers that they were resistant to change. But some poll workers love it. So they didn't have that hesitation from the voters.
I think if it's gonna ease the work burden is important, the feeling of fraud, if this is gonna be better than the paper ballot, to me, I think it's worth it with all the money that they're spending
Yeah,
for.
I mean, you'll still have the paper ballots. This
Yeah,
isn't,
yeah.
I mean, and I'm definitely open to, having the folks from, trying to see if the folks from Clintonville would do like an open house with you guys or with voters, I'm definitely willing to do that before. before we like sign on the dotted line or anything like that.
Any more discussion on it?
I look at it as this, if people are willing to believe that thing in their hand that has a screen that reflects, if they're willing to believe the fake news and the lies that get put through their media, they can sign a tablet instead of a piece of paper. Print the receipt, keep it with you, sleep under, put it under your pillow. But it's technology, it's saving labor costs by 3-4 days of a person that's, their time is that valuable, that's 4 days of her work. It's priceless, man, you know.
I think what you said, Mr. Robertson, on both sides, people in America believe on both sides. And we have to choose one right here, right now. And what Nicole, the clerk, has said, not only does it make her job easier, but the footprint on it behind it is traceable, it's trackable. You have a receipt. A lot of the stuff that I've listened to in the past on the voter fraud and stuff comes from the human error or the human manipulation. And this is going to be electronically stored. I know there's also stipulations on that as well. But this is kind of a double imprint. It gives you a receipt and it's storing the information. Just my 2 cents on this.
Discussion's done. Call for a vote. All in favor?
All right.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion's carried.
All right, the new body cameras. Mr. Schleter.
So back in 2013 is when we got our first body cameras. They were V-View cameras and they've been just great pieces of equipment. We use them all the time on different things. They've probably kept us out of a few lawsuits, including an officer involved shooting that we had, but we had everything on videotape with that probably prevented us from getting to any sort of civil litigation. Over the years, we've replaced probably about half of those original 2013 cameras with other V-View cameras, but due to COVID, that company was bought up by Axon, and Axon quit making the camera because they sell their own cameras, which are much more expensive. So we paid originally $20,000 for them. And I got a quote last week from Axon, and it was $115,000. So they probably wanted those cameras out of the system so that we start buying their new modern cameras. So we've just started kind of looking into this. We probably have enough. I got 2 backup cameras yet, and hopefully be able to get through this year, a good portion of it at least, before we start running out of cameras where the batteries are no longer keeping on long enough, that sort of thing. So I contacted the Clintonville chief because I know he's been looking at body cameras. We also have the chiefs conference next week where they'll have all these cameras at. And most of his quotes were coming in somewhere in that $35,000 to probably $50,000 range, which I would think would be fairly similar to us, somewhere in that ballpark. So talking to Judy, we put down 40,000 now. I'm going to start getting some quotes. Next week we'll be meeting with some more of these companies. Some of the big things that we're seeing changing over time is the cost of software and software maintenance. And currently we house all of our videos and stuff in-house, and we don't put it up on the cloud, which saves us money. But I know a lot of the new companies are going towards that. So we want to see what's out there. We want a good piece of equipment. We want a good piece of equipment that works and be able to continue with the process. And just so everyone knows, our officers on patrol actually requested body cameras back in 2013. So it wasn't management forcing them to do it. They wanted them themselves to be able to protect us in the city. So I think it's a great investment to look at. Where the final cost is, I'm guessing it's gonna be hopefully ballpark somewhere in that area. And I'll keep Judy up to date as we come in over under, but I think it's a good place to start. Or maybe we purchase some this year. We use up the rest of our body camera life and some of the other ones, and maybe next year I come back and ask for another 10,000 or 15,000 if that's what it takes.
Anybody have any other questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the body cameras for 40,000. All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Yeah, I got
All right, we're up to the washer extractor for the fire department.
Bernie.
I'll explain this. So this is what cleans their fire suits when they have
What it
to.
does, we got, if we get our, turnout get dirty at a fire, we're recommended to wash it because otherwise there's contaminants and stuff in the smoke. So we got a wash machine that we throw our gear in, wash it, and it almost dries it after it wringed it out. One we got is kind of getting wore out.
And what he's also looking at is he said he can't do more than one suit at a time, so he'd like to be able to,
One suit at a time.
yeah, so he'd like to be able to get,
Kind of hard when you got 30 guys.
yeah. And I can't remember how old he said the current system was. It was quite dated.
I look for a motion to approve the washer extractor for the fire department.
Second.
Motion made and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, Chad, the spur road.
So we
culvert.
were approached by the town of Liberty to do a joint project because the culvert that needs to be replaced is half on the city property, goes under the road, half on the town of Liberty. The quote that was given to them, and they did the research on this one, the quote that was given to them, they asked Outagamie County Highway Department for that at the time, was about 10 grand. So our cost share would have been about 5 grand. They have a new town chairman since this original proposal. That individual and I have been talking back and forth. We contacted Outagamie County Highway Department for an update to this quote, just to make sure we had the right number in here. And they said, as of now, they are not willing to give a quote because the costs are just doing this. So I have no idea if this is a close number right now. They said, once we get closer to the project, they'll give us a better quote. But they said the price of materials right now, they don't feel comfortable saying, quoting us that it went up $200 or something. I don't know. So I guess right now we stick with the 500 or 5,000. If we're close to that, cool. If not, we'll come back to the committee and talk about it again.
Chad, I'd like to interrupt, Mr. Bisok. We should have an extension on that last one.
I had a question on that too.
Oh, yeah.
So
For Mr. Ritchie, you should ask for the abstention because I know you didn't vote
He
either
can't
way
vote.
on that.
Oh, okay.
The fire, give him that opportunity.
I'm sorry, I should have.
Bernie, you
pointed that out.
abstained from voting on the
The,
fire?
On the fire
on the wash machine?
No, fire washer.
yeah, I know you didn't, but it wasn't recorded that you abstained. So I was just making sure that we record
Okay.
that.
You did abstain, correct? Little question mark.
All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Back to the culvert replacement. I'm looking for a motion for that.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made and second to approve the culvert replacement for 5,000. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, the next two we'll do as one, under the park shelter roof replacements, actually the next three. I'm sorry, they're all roof replacements and I believe they're in-house, correct, Ginger?
Yep.
I'll give that
Will
to
be
you.
done by Ted and his crew.
I'll make a motion. to Approve the 3 roofs.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the roof replacement, all three of them.
I was just kind of curious, like, how old are those roofs?
Oh, we've got those numbers, but not on here right away, but
Okay.
they've
30
been
30
been
years,
sitting on these
20
schedules
years?
for a while. And Ted's been looking at them every year and, we can get one more year. Oh, we can get one more year. It's
I
time.
don't think you're getting another year out of Abraham. That
Yeah,
one
it's
looks pretty
time.
rough As I drive by.
Yeah.
I know the one at the warming shelter, actually the wind blew it off and it kind of peeled back
Yeah.
and then it fell back down and we just. Would it be more feasible to put steel on them instead of asphalt shingles?
We could look at that. If it's within the same
Especially
budget.
they're so small, yeah.
Steel is probably double the
Steel's
cost.
gonna last longer than the asphalt is.
Hmm.
I mean, they tell you you got a 30-year guarantee on a shingle and you're lucky if you get 15 out of them.
Mhm.
We can have Ted research that and work within those costs.
I mean, I think that would be the smarter way to go. I mean, it's probably gonna cost a little more, but
Abraham, Stud Hill.
So do we need to amend that at all or just pass it like it is?
We'll pass it
Just
like
says
it
roof,
is.
it doesn't
Yep.
say asphalt.
Mhm.
Okay, I'd look for the approval of the roof replacement.
Move to approve it.
I have a second.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the roof replacement. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And we'll take the next two together also, both at the pool. Ginger.
So the fitness cardio equipment replacement is actually to replace a piece that has been out of commission right now already. So we've had several complaints about not having, it's gonna be a treadmill. It's one of our heaviest used pieces down there. Right now, it's not even in the fitness center because it doesn't work. The pool diving board has been there since the building was built, and we had at least 5 injuries this summer alone on slips and falls on it. Ted and his staff have tried to resurface it with an actual diving board resurfacer, and it's just not, it's too old to hold that grit anymore. So that's why we're asking for replacement of that piece.
Any more discussion? I'd look for a motion for approval of the fitness room cardio equipment and the pool diving board.
Move to approve.
Have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And one more, ice rink, Ginger.
So this has been a request for the last couple of years. We have not had an ice rink because the temperature has not gotten low enough for us to have enough frost in the ground to hold the water when doing just a natural ice pool rink. So we looked into ice rink liners. This is the quote that I got from the majority of the parks and recreation departments in the state that are using this company. There's a great example of one over in Hortonville that Luke checked out. And we could possibly even get it this year set up, but I just saw in the forecast that we have some 35 degrees next week, so that's to be determined.
Where is that gonna
Motion to
go?
approve.
That will be set up, so with this type of system, you want it to be in your most level spot possible. So we've marked off an area down in the boat launch overflow parking next to the maintenance building or the park city garage by the sled hill. So the warming filter will be there. Possible electricity, yeah.
Was the question asked by Dorsey or Barrington?
Thursday.
Okay, thanks.
Any other discussion on the ice rink liner? Look for approval.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the ice rink liner. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Hat and wall refurbishing. Ginger.
That's also for me, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So actually back in August, I believe we had some comments brought to our committee about the hat and wall and the deteriorating state of it, particularly along Werner Allen Boulevard and Jennings Road, just because those are very visible. Luke and I met with a contractor that works on historical walls, and we presented a few different quotes for a few different sections. This is the largest section done, which would be right on Werner Allen Boulevard.
And this was going to be an ongoing
Correct.
project. We were going to try to do a little bit every year.
Correct. It probably wouldn't be this much of a cost every year. This is the major fix there.
Any other discussion?
Second.
Motion's been made to approve for the hat and wall refurbishing. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, we have the tree removal, stump grinding, and this is at the cemetery. They've been moving forward with trying to get some trees out of that cemetery since we had that storm. They did ask for 12,775, but Luke is thinking that he can get some of those, that we can do some of this work in-house. So the $6,000 would be for anything that our street department and parks department didn't feel like they could do in-house. So they would have to hire out for.
So the grinder we got might not be able to do some of these, huh?
depending on how close we are to headstones, stuff like that, the shallow water lines are up there. But I think Chad and I have talked, we've all kind of talked. I think we'll definitely be able to help them out quite a bit.
Have you talked to Jamie yet? I know you were gonna talk to him
I
just touch base.
actually talked to him today to reach out to Rob. I tried calling the number that was on the city website. That was still on that.
Look for a motion for the stump removal up at the cemetery.
So move. Second.
Motion been made and second for the stump removal at the cemetery. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, do we have Dave?
Dave is not here, but I know we talked about this at one of the previous meetings that he's interested in this program called BSNA, Building Inspection Program. It's a program that he has used in his previous jobs in Minnesota, Michigan, not Minnesota, Michigan. And that it tracks parcels, and you can track building permits, the applications, code enforcement. I think there was one other aspect of it.
It generates letters.
It generates letters. So it sounds like it does a lot of the processes automatically. So someone can online, they can go and fill out the building permit, and that all that information is stored per parcel in the program. So you can kind of go to that parcel and see, has that building permit been applied for that parcel? Is there a code enforcement violation for that parcel? And all the things that he kind of works on, zoning requests and zoning information. If there's a zoning change with floodplain or something like that, it can be all tied to that parcel in there. He's
Violations will be retained.
in a computer format, because we don't have anything in a computer format right now.
Really gonna streamline the position.
Yep.
Bring us to the new age.
Will that work in the same with the comprehensive plan? Should we do those together or separately?
No, a comprehensive plan is just for the city's planning
Inspect, yep.
aspect. you
Okay.
know. But his code enforcement and zoning and building inspection,
Okay.
that all goes together.
I look for a motion to approve the building inspector program.
So move. Approve.
Motion made and
Oh,
second.
I see.
Oops. Better.
Boucher first, dog second.
I don't know Dave's background. The cities that he worked for before New London, were they as small as New London, or were they quite large cities?
Sounds like both. He worked for Lansing at first, which obviously is a lot bigger. But then when he retired from there, he worked for some smaller townships as building inspector and zoning. According to him, he's like, everyone in Michigan uses BSNA. That's the program everybody uses. So
28,000 is a lot of money New London, I don't know how many building permits are issued a year, but I can't imagine it justifying $28,000.
well, you just brought in the revenue. How much was that revenue overage? Like 44,000?
Yeah, it was over by 44,000. Look at the construction permits themselves.
Just a quick question. Does this tie into that IS 2018 thing that he wants to do, that
Ordinance, the ordinance.
thing? Does that tie together with this
No.
system?
No.
Essentially, and I've talked with him numerous times about this program. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but Missy's capacity with us, she has a lot of hats, but that's always been kind of a support person for the building inspector as well. In the past, when, years back, I thought it was.
Looking past, and I haven't dived into it, obviously, like Dave has, but during the interim a little bit, in the past, the building inspectors would try to do some record keeping in Word or Excel and things like that, but to tie documents and those records and, all that stuff into per parcel, whether it's this program or another program, tying it all together does make sense. It's a way to organize it much better.
From what I understood from him is it would save not only his time, but other staff time.
Mhm.
And then if you're in a position where that I don't know, we got a different building inspector 5 years from now, all of Dave's work is not going to just be, well, good luck finding that box. I'm
All right,
outta here.
that's why I'm asking, is that this computer program that he wants to buy for the enforcement side will also have a rules side on it.
Yes.
So does this system, is it gonna run with the other one? Are they all gonna be on one system? That, I can't remember the initials of that one.
The International Building Code
Yeah,
one.
International Building.
So
Code
that,
he
that's
wants.
that's your ordinances. So that's looking at, your municipal code.
Somehow that's gonna have to tie to this program so
He
that it
would-
can spit out the fines and forfeitures for parcels.
You basically cite or create a citation based on the municipal code. So that citation would be tied to that parcel.
So is
So-
there one of these out there that ties in with the international code that,
That's exactly what he's working towards.
Well,
so does this one tie into that? That was my question.
it's not really something you can really tie in. See, the ordinances, that's what, when on Nicole's plate, we're doing the municipal code codification, and we're gonna have a program called E-Code 360 to house all the ordinances. So
Chief,
it's,
I don't mean to interrupt you,
No.
Chief. The way I'm thinking of it is kind of like what your officers use. You have the ordinances, and then you're able to print off citations accordingly. So if you're thinking about that in that realm, is kind of what this system's gonna do. You'll be able to go in there and write the citation, just like what a police officer does, off of the ordinances that city has in place, which would be that booklet that you're talking about.
So is there another program out there where they both go together? Is it an add-on to that international one that you could maybe save money on instead of getting this one? Where
it's
he's
not,
actually looking, right now, he's looking at two different spots.
no, it's
Because we
kind
would
of
have
two
to-
separate things. It's not something that ties together really. But we're, like I said, we're gonna go to that E-Code 360 to organize our municipal code.
Yep.
And then we look at the ordinances and he's writing citations based on the municipal code, or, authorizing zoning permits or building inspections.
This is like CCAP for Dave Dorsey's house. Okay, we know there's a bathroom over here, this, that, the last time anybody went through there, the inspector or the assessor, this is what was your house. You sell it, you move on, you go to New York. Tim buys it. The building inspector, no matter who it is, brings up that property, everything that ever happened at that property, every fence that was put up, every fence that was took down, every garage door, whatever you need a permit for, there's a record of that property all right there. And if you got garbage complaints or anything, it's all right there. So it's like CCAP for that property. Which is helpful if, there's ever a problem,
I'm not doubting that this is helpful. I was just wondering if it could tie together with both.
And I believe it's gonna start at ground zero, like
Yep.
it's gonna have the program. And just like you said, it's gonna be built as it goes.
So part of that cost is to have them get it up to working form.
Right, but with the information, like you said,
Yeah, that we
as it
give them.
goes on, we're gonna create the data that's going into it for the history.
Yeah, I mean, all the records, that applications, the permits, the citations, things like that.
it's like putting it all in one file cabinet.
Correct.
Instead of this
Correct.
closet, the basement and everywhere else.
Any more discussion on it?
So the $28,000 is just for the software.
Correct. Yep. And I mean, to be clear, with most softwares like this, there is an annual maintenance fee. I think that one was 1,300, which
Sounds
in
right.
looking at a lot of other software
I
packages,
know
that's not
it's
too
in
bad.
his current budget.
Yep. Yep.
But then somebody is going to manually have to input all of the data of our city into the program.
Yes. Yep. And they will configure quite a bit of it. So if we have things that we can upload, they can populate that in there. But every time there's building permits and things like that, it's just something that's electronically a record of these
Ordinance
things.
changes.
What's that?
Ordinance changes.
Well, see, the ordinance changes, I mean, that's gonna be in E-code. Yeah, that's, yeah, we go to E-code 360 to see what the municipal code is. But this is, think of it as record keeping for each parcel, the building permits, the code enforcements, the zoning changes, and things like that. So 10 years from now, if I want to see, Bob Beasl's parcel, there's a history of any building permit and any code violation and anything in one location, which we don't have today. I mean,
I guess it'd be nice if we had Dave in here kind of explaining a little bit more to it. I don't know if,
Mhm.
I don't understand exactly what that entails. I mean, if it's just a software and then he's got to sit and input all of our data of the city into it, and I mean, unless you're paying somebody else to do that, what additional cost is going to go into that? For such a small city of New London, I just don't think it's worth it.
He has to put all of that information, like me writing on this paper, he has to do all of that input right now with every transaction that comes across. Putting it in there. and it's
I get once it's set up,
file.
it's going to be awesome, but I just feel like it's going to be a lot of work to set this thing up. And you get the software, but then he's got to input everybody's parcels, everybody's this, everything that. Once it's all ready to go, that's great. But the initial setup seems a little bit more complex than what it's put off.
And he's talked to them about that. So maybe Dave can come in and talk, specifically about that. But if we have parcel listings and things that, like a spreadsheet that has, parcel ID and the address and the property owner and things like that, that you take a spreadsheet and then they take that and just populate it automatically, that saves a lot of data entry, which I'm hoping that would be the case. I mean, to sit there and have to type in every single parcel that we have in the city, that's going to take forever. I mean, there should be easy ways to import a spreadsheet of data into a system like that. But Dave is going to have to be the one to tell us that.
I move to end debate and vote on the question
Any more
The mo-
questions?
The motion has already been made.
and vote on the motion.
Call for a vote on the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Was that the
Comprehensive.
vote on the vote for the motion, or was that the vote on the motion? Because it sounded like you said, because he made a
We
motion.
made a motion. We
end
got a
debate.
second. We're gonna vote on the building inspector program.
Okay.
Motion was made.
Can you read who made the motion in a second?
Initially, Boucher and Zog made the motion.
And then there was still debate. I moved to end debate and vote on that motion.
And we just
voted on
voted
it.
on that.
We just
I
voted
moved
on
to end
it.
debate.
Just end the debate.
Who seconded that?
John, I thought.
John,
Boucher?
Yeah.
Okay.
get the comprehensive plan update.
So then we need to make a vote on the actual motion.
What?
Zog was saying that he made a motion to make
End
a
debate.
vote,
Right.
to end debate and vote. So now we got to vote.
So now vote on the
motion.
building
No.
inspector.
Now we vote on the motion.
And it's been seconded.
Been seconded. Yep. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carried. One vote.
All right,
Yeah.
Chad, comprehensive plan.
If you've been coming to the planning commission meetings, we've been doing kind of phase one of the comprehensive plan. Comprehensive plan is required by state law to update every 5 years. So we took the biggest chunk, I guess, of the comprehensive plan for this past year and updated, I think it was chapter 8, which was the mapping. That's a lot of the bulk of the work. We still have to do quite a bit more with Cedar Corp. We were waiting on census data that should be, I don't know if it's been released yet, but it should be pretty close, that they can update the rest of the comprehensive plan. So the 24,800 would be for consulting work to update the remaining part of the comprehensive plan.
I make a motion.
Any questions? Motion's made and seconded to vote or to get the comprehensive plan update. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Security assessment.
All right, that's Missy. Are you with us, Missy?
Yes, I'm here. So the security assessment is for the IT department. And every couple of years, we kind of need to do this to make sure that we don't have any holes in our systems, in our security of our systems. And we like to make sure that nobody can get into our systems from the outside. We don't want to get a hack. So we have a company that comes in and they go through and tell us, okay, you know what, you got an open port, you've got some updates you got to do on the system, things of that nature. And then we go through and do what their recommendations are to get back up to snuff and make sure that we are secure to that point. This year, they're also going to do a dark web domain scan. So what the dark web is, it's a place where hackers can go on the internet and they can buy information and they do rotten things out there. Excuse me. And so we want to make sure that our information from the city is not out there. So they're going to do a deep scan of that just to make sure that we don't have anything connected to our domains. We have 2 different domains, so they're going to check both those domains. Unfortunately, the price has almost doubled since the last time we did it. The actual price is $8,000, but CIVMIC, being our insurance company, if we go with this company, they will pay for half of the price. So then that brings it down to just over $4,000 for us. So that's what that does.
Anybody have any questions of Missy?
Move to approve it.
Motion's made to approve it. We have a second.
I'll second.
What's that?
Said I'll second.
Second
Oh,
from
you
the
said-
mayor.
oh, okay.
Is the mayor?
Motion's
allowed
been
to
made
make
and
a second?
seconded.
Yes, because it's not council.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a committee.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the audio system, the security system assessment. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, and this is one we've been talking about for quite a while. Placement of the audio system. That you, Chad?
Oh,
You still have the staffing compensation.
no,
study?
we're down to the staffing comprehensive study. The replacement of the desks in the council chamber, that will be funded more likely than not through the cable fund. I think they're still working on what it's gonna look like, along with Josh, as a new employee. So once they get all their information together, they'll be presenting that probably at a finance committee meeting or,
Okay, so this is staffing comprehensive study.
we're down to, yep.
I can grab that one.
Right.
So every 5 years in the past, the city has done a staffing compensation study to, make sure that the city is being competitive and being up to par with area municipalities. My plan moving forward with this is to start with an internal conversation with staff and the mayor to see where we're going to go with this. Even if we would approve the budget as is right now, if we hire somebody, a contract would have to come to the council to hire somebody anyway. So this would just get the ball rolling if we do decide to fulfill that 5-year cycle that the city's been on track with that. We need to definitely look at a comprehensive compensation update. Number one, because it's been 5 years out. Number two, in the market that we're at today, we need to make sure that we're looking at being competitive because we know, number one, staffing is getting very hard to fill positions. We want to make sure we retain our employees. So we won't want to get behind the 8 ball and get to a point where we're really struggling to keep and retain employees for the city. So it's kind of where we're going with that right now, but that's something that the city has done every 5 years in the past.
Actually required by ordinance right now.
It's required by ordinance right now.
Any questions? Look for a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Hello, class finale.
You can come on
So,
up.
last year, we replaced the adult side carpet, and we were going to replace the children's and found out there's asbestos on the masters on the tile and the carpet itself. So we got a quote from a person that would come in and remove the asbestos for $3,950 with a $500 air clearance test after that. And then the carpet is about $7,100 to install, order and install it. So we did the adult side, now we need to do the children's side. Ran into a snag with asbestos.
Anybody have any,
$3,900 is pretty cheap.
Approve.
anybody have any questions? Got a motion? Got a second?
Second.
Got a Motion is passed. Are all in favor for children carpet replacement at the library?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right, so with those highlighted purchases that were approved tonight, it will leave the capital budget with $148,000. There's also going to be some revenue dollars depending on sale of equipment that will flow back into the capital. When we took a look at this as a department, we thought that, and even as a finance director, that this is a great place for us to be. As we know, sometimes things can break. We've had a piece of snow equipment break right at snow time, and we went in here and utilized these dollars. If you look at our schedule, you can see next year, right off the bat, we have a 2005 dump truck at $225. We have a Caterpillar at $200,000. The next year you go in and you have, you know, a backhoe. So there is a lot of equipment coming up that's quite expensive going into the future. So we'd like to leave the dollars that are currently in here, if not expense within 2022, to flow into 2023 for those capital needs. Like I said, I would expect this to go up a little bit for any sales of anything that we are purchasing this year. So those will go into there. Just keep in mind that sometimes we do shift some of these vehicles around. So we utilize like police cars for the recreation department. So sometimes it's not necessarily that piece of equipment that will be sold, it's the older piece of equipment. So some of that is going on within our fleet. But I think that leaves us in a good spot. And what I would suggest is that at this point, we not schedule, I think number 3 is schedule a next meeting, but we not schedule a next meeting, and then we consider to have a meeting if necessary. So let's say one of the pieces of equipment or the projects comes in way over budget. We would call a capital projects and equipment meeting to relook at that item and decide if we were going to move forward.
I have one question for you. Where's the sewer cleaning machine? When's that?
That sewer cleaning machine will come out of the wastewater treatment plant budget.
That will.
So I put that here. So out of the wastewater, that $3,600 for that portable sewer jetter will come out of the wastewater treatment plant budget. That is also another budget I anticipate presenting to you at finance next month. So we'll take a look at the wastewater treatment plant budget, where they're at and what expenses are coming out and what revenue is coming into that plant and what it looks like for our future. So we are doing a rate study next year or this year actually in 2022. So we're going to take a look at are the current rates keeping the plant at a place that it needs to be going into the future. So that rate study will not be presented probably later in the year, but we'll take a look at where the wastewater treatment plant ended in the year 2021, and then anything that we have looking into the future that we would like to consider for expenditure for the wastewater treatment plant. But yes, that is coming out of the plant. Does anyone have any questions on any of the other items on the list? Do another things that we are still researching.
And those researching ones, especially the door access control project, I anticipate us bringing something forward on that one, because the gym for sure, that one we're having issues left and right, and the amount of time we're asking Keith to come in to troubleshoot, we're spending money on tech services that we don't really need to do anymore. It's bad. And then that just gets the city hall and the gym, which is older programs, up to and on the same system that we have that manages the municipal garage. So something we want to look at. Yep.
You want to schedule a meeting?
I think we'll wait until we get further information, especially on some of those items that we're researching and looking at estimates for. Because at this time, they were as a placeholder, I believe, for their dollar amount we have on there now. And we just haven't had the opportunity to look into a number of these items. So what I would do is probably at finance, some meeting, I would say, okay, I'm looking to, schedule capital projects, or Nicole would send out a email to everyone and say, does this day work for you? But probably would schedule it again in the same manner after finance committee meeting on a Wednesday night
Yeah, look for
in the
adjournment.
future.
So move. Motion made and second to adjourn. All in favor? Adjourn.